I'm adding this in the beginning because I forgot to add it to the story, but I remember one time I had brought some lean over, and I had spent the night with him, and it was some pennies on like my side of the bed when I pulled back the cover. And I woke him up out of his sleep and like showed him the pennies. Do you know he stuffed them behind the bed and went back to sleep and never said nothing? So I caught myself like just doing stuff that I see people do. So I tried to drink the whole 2 liter of lean. It didn't do nothing for me. And I think I ended up just leaving and going home. And he was mad that I left without telling him. And then another time, I was sleeping in his bed, and he kept on calling me, but I didn't know because I was asleep. And the mother of his child walked in a room and was asking me all these questions like, "You spent the night?" And I don't remember what I was saying to her, but I just went through a lot with this man. This is the same mother of his child that I mentioned later in the story that he bought us the same jewelry set. I used to go to a male strip club, and I I gave the guy my number as a joke, and I ended up liking him, and so we had sex, and when it was over, I realized that like he took the condom off when he was behind me when we were having sex in that sexual position. So I didn't know until it was over. Um, I was on birth control, so I didn't get pregnant, and at that time I didn't um, get an STD from him. But I did later on in the future, multiple times, and I was actually so like broken that I was crying when I found out, not because I had the STD, but because I knew that I wasn't going to leave him alone, even though I did have it. And so when I had asked him, like, I know you didn't do what I just thought you did, and he was like, don't worry. Um, like, what he say? He said, like, um, I don't want no more kids. And I was like, I don't either. But I was on birth control. I didn't get pregnant anyway. But I think he ended up giving me money for an abortion or something like that. But I had realized how much unhealthy stuff that I had experienced with him when I had released my previous testimonies about me stopping smoking marijuana and me stopping smoking weed, because those are the same things. When me stopped smoking marijuana and me stopped smoking Black and Miles, this same guy that I'm talking about who took the condom off without my permission, it's called stealthing. Um, it's STEALTHING, and it is a form of rape because it's a non-consensual sexual behavior, which could lead somebody to get pregnant or get an STD. So that's definitely a form of abuse. But this same guy is who introduced me to marijuana, who introduced me to Black and Miles, who introduced me to threesomes as well, and he also introduced me to lean, and he also tried to initiate. Um, he also brought somebody into the room that was a male while we were having a threesome without my permission or the other girl permission, and I hid under the cover because I didn't want to have sex with him. And he also like invited a girl over to have a threesome, and they had sex in the bed, and I didn't want to have sex. And I ended up joining in just because I felt stupid, and I was so insecure that it's like like I did it because I didn't want her to be the only one to have sex with him. Like I just was very insecure and just I did a lot of things that wasn't right. I was very insecure. I wanted attention. I wanted love, and I just really settled for a lot that I shouldn't have settled for. Only did those threesomes with him because I like realized he was having sex with them girls anyway, so I might as well have just did it. And I consider myself bisexual, but I never would have chose those women if I wasn't talking to him. I never would have did those things. He was the only man that I had, well, a threesome with, except for one of the girls. I had one of the girls that I met through him through a threesome. I had drove to our house after we left the male strip club, and she invited this guy over, and she was asking like he wanted to have a threesome. I was like, no, he don't have permission. Like I don't, cause I didn't want to have sex with nobody but the guy that we had a threesome with. And she asked like, would it be okay if he performed oral sex on me? And I was like, yeah. So I allowed him to do that, but that was it. So, but yeah, so I was introduced to a whole lot of stuff that I never did with anybody else, and I wouldn't have did if it wasn't for him. And that's why we need to have a relationship with God. That's why we need to follow God's way, because we all see what happens when we don't listen to God. I never would have had sex with him. I never would have did lean. I never would have started smoking weed or smoking black and milds. I never would have went through any of that stuff. And I never would have had an STD multiple times. I never would have had multiple threesomes. I never would have did any of that stuff if I had a relationship with God. That's what the purpose of my YouTube channel is, because it's so much stuff that goes on in the world that people don't understand. And we have to understand that just because we want something doesn't mean it's best for us, and God knows the best way for us to align with things. That man was not meant to be my husband, so I never would have had sex with him if I just would have had my relationship with God. And so thankfully God forgives us, and thankfully that I didn't get an STD from him that was incurable. And I'm telling this story so that people can understand that we need to be free by the power of our testimony, and we need to understand why it's so important for us to talk to God and let God choose for us, because only God knows what's going to happen in the future. I wasn't even really attracted to that guy, but I ended up being attracted to him because he was very sweet to me in the beginning. And he also had like an attitude too, so it was just a lot that I settled for, because it's like he was kind only for a little bit. It was just a lot. I found out that he was abusive. He did not physically ever hit me, thank God, but I still went through a lot. But he did threaten me. I just went through a lot with him. And I just wanted to feel special, like all of the other girls that he was with from the strip club. Like, he would use them for their money, but he would always ask them to like buy him stuff, but he wouldn't do that to me. And he would like buy me stuff, and he would like invite me to his kid's birthday party. And like in the strip club, if you like wasn't met their family, like you was considered special, because you wasn't just like a tipper. I met like his brothers, I met his mom, and I met his children, and was invited to their birthday parties. And I just felt special because he was willing to like make the children, the mothers of his children, upset, just like because he wanted me to be there. And he would treat my daughter kind, and he even bought her stuff for her birthday as well. Like, so it's not like I experienced all bad stuff for him, because I know people had a question like, well, why did you stay if it was all bad? It was like a mix, and on top of me saying that I was insecure. Like, I remember one time for my birthday, he got me a giant birthday card, and he drew me on my own island. I do business at Phoenix, and so he drew like a phoenix bird over the island, and he named the island Lola's Land, because my nickname was Lola. He called me Lola Doll. And he also like bought me stuff, and then he bought me and the mother of his child the same jewelry set, but in different colors. So we was at his child's birthday party with the same jury on, and I just felt so stupid. I just went through a lot, but yeah, those are the reasons that I felt special. I was in a situationship with him between the ages of 18 and 24. And I had started praying when I was 24, and I had asked God for a real relationship because I was tired of settling. And I did get a real relationship, and I learned a lot in that relationship too. I'll do a testimony on what I experienced in that relationship as well. I did end up like going back to him after that relationship ended, just for a very little bit, because I realized I wasn't really attracted to him no more. And he was just very like intimidated. He was used to being like the best or the most successful person around him, and like when the people that he was surrounded by started getting money, he would start talking about them and feeling entitled, like they owe him something. And he was also jealous because like I asked him to be my business partner. He kept delaying, but then when I was at his house and when he learned that I was talking to a celebrity at his house, he was getting jealous, and he started being mean to me and started being ungrateful. And because I was there because I had got him a Christmas gift and I had made it myself. It was a hoodie that zipped up, and I had like heat pressed a design on the back for him. And he was saying like anybody could have did it. I'm like, but anybody didn't. And so he was just being very ungrateful. He had a lot of unhealed trauma from the things that he went through with his mother and his father and through women. I heard a lot about what he went through with the first mother of his child, about how she purposely broke him down, about how he was never the same after he was with her. So I learned about a lot of abusive and malicious things that he did. Even as a teenager, he had sex with like multiple women in the same family, and he just did a lot of stuff to people, and he's still not treating women right to this day. And I be praying for him all the time, because people be having so much greatness in them, and Jesus, they just have all this unresolved trauma, and the devil get in their life, and they don't even realize. Like, he was very talented, he was very smart, and he just seemed to lack motivation to use those things. And there's just so much, like, people be having so much going on in their life, and that's why I'm grateful for my relationship with God, because God helped you through everything so that you can thrive and use all of these beautiful gifts and talents and intelligence that God has gifted us with. I love you so much, and most importantly, God does too. I thank you for listening. I am a spiritual advisor, and I help people get through everything that I have experienced, everything that I mentioned. I help people mature mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I help people understand their life experiences. I help people understand their dreams and numbers that they see repeatedly and the ways that God communicates. I help people understand whatever that you come to me with. And also, if you want to pray with me, my social media accounts are in the description area, and you can do that with me. And also, my spiritual advisory sessions start at $45. My email is there for you to schedule that session with me. And I have a few playlist recommendations in my description area. However, it is best for you to click on my YouTube channel directly, the one that you're listening to this on, and view my playlist, because I have over 700 videos for you to watch and listen to. So I have way more playlists than the ones that are listed in the description area. I thank you for tithing into my ministry by listening, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And I also thank you for pouring into me by praying for me and sowing into my ministry monetarily.